I'm still muted. Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of the Shadow Realm live on Sideline Sports. I'm your host, Bodkins, and of course, with me, as always, Mr. Bobby Blunt. Bobby, it was UFC 329, and last week we talked about the return of Conor McGregor, and the return of Conor McGregor went out like a wet fart. I mean, it doesn't. I don't really know where to begin, Bobby. I mean, it kind of was. There's a lot of speculation. Did he go into the fight injured? I don't know necessarily, but he definitely. I do know he blew out his knee about 30 seconds into the fight with Max Holloway, doing a running switch kick, and blew out the knee. Down goes Conor. Max wins, and I guess there's a lot of questions to ask or where to go, but. Conor's said he's going to have surgery and he will fight. We'll see him at least one more time in the UFC octagon. He has one fight left, but I don't know how much of an appetite there is left for Conor McGregor at this point. He turns 38 tomorrow, Bobby, and at this point in time, we may not see him for another year and a half plus. So it'll be 39, 40 if we see him.
I mean, we know we're going to see him. Let's be real. Boy.
So you do think we're going to get the return, another return on top of another return?
I mean, okay, let's just say for what it is. I feel very bad, and I think it's very unfortunate for all of the fans that paid their hard-earned money to fly out to Vegas. I feel very bad for Max Holloway, who had to put in an entire fight camp to have this type of result. On the bright side, he got the biggest payday of his life.
Right, he's yelling, "Let's do a third one." If I'm Max, I want to do a third one too, because I got paid a lot of money for absolutely nothing this time.
Yeah, but however, that is where my sympathy ends. I thought this was honestly a perfect cap off of an electric fight card. I mean, obviously we did not get a fight, but obviously some things were out of McGregor's control, like the leg break and stuff like that in the Poirier fight. But the rest of this just seemed to be a lot of self-inflicted wounds that he put on himself. So it is what it is. I'm not really that upset about it. I think we are going to get another fight out of him just because his goal seems to be to get out of his contract. And we can say if he accomplished anything on Saturday night, he got one step closer to that because now he has one fight left with the UFC. And I believe it is a meniscus and not an ACL. That is kind of been speculated on, but nothing has came out official. He obviously said he's getting surgery, but I think the best case scenario,
if it's a meniscus, he'll be back quicker than an ACL.
I think either way, it's a year, just with his age, and he might try to streamline it just to absolutely get out of the contract, but I guess in the most positive ways. Maybe we could see him in the middle of 27 or something. But, the entire fight week, I was excited for the fights themselves, but it was more that kind of main card. I never bought in to the Ariel Helwani PR move of this is the reborn McGregor we are getting. And I mean, the press conference just kind of pointed that out to me. It seemed like he dramatically lost his fastball. I mean, Paddy Pimblett was the star at the press conference, got a louder pop. He was the bigger star of the night.
I want to get to Paddy in a minute, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'll touch on Paddy in a minute. I'm just trying to gauge off what we're used to with Conor.
Ireland did not travel, right? There wasn't, back in the for newer fans, back in Conor's prime, 2014, 2015, 2016, the place, it was Irish. Like it was like an island, right? The octagon literally was, the arena was an Irish island because of the things that he was doing, and it didn't feel that way. It didn't feel that way. Like his walkout, he looked. Everybody talks about like the walkout and like in the octagon, he just did not seem like as loose as he used to be. Maybe it's the 5 years jitters. Maybe he just doesn't really want to be there anymore.
It was kind of the first time you kind of saw the nerves, something like he was pretty good at like just blacking, out and performing. But, I'm not sure if it was just the unauthentic engagement from like Kalshi and Polymarket trying to tell you like that this was the, biggest comeback ever. But, and I think that's a big reason why when the results of the fight happened, I was like, okay, well, at least the rest of the fights were good.
Right,
I,
right.
I never like had in my mind that we were gonna get like some impressive back and forth war. I thought the opponent was just gonna be way too much. The only thing that really made it interesting was the weight. But honestly, now looking at the weight, I think him fighting at 170 is not doing any favor on his ligaments either. And, John Kavanaugh, we've never like really had this discussion before, but I've always wondered, is he a great coach or does he just have the biggest star in MMA and that's where he gets his notoriety? Because for him to actually double down and say that they were planning that kick for weeks and that was the game plan, that is like more comical than the actual result of the fight. I
That's
can't
like
like,
the what was it? The Colts when they playoff game when they lined up everybody in the what I mean? You're just like, what? Why are they calling
yeah,
this play? You know,
it, it was like to quote Joe Rogan, it was straight gas station tactics.
yeah.
Like that is not going to work on some guy in Contender Series, let alone Max Holloway, who is a pretty damn good fighter. So at first when I was watching that, I thought like maybe he just like slipped on the logos that were on the cage because there were so many of them, and it was jitters and it's been a while. But then when he got back up, you could clearly see that Max did not want to engage at all. And credit to Max for that. I mean, if that was Carlos Prates, he probably would have snapped that leg off. So, it ended in like a lackluster fashion, but I didn't really come away with a sour taste in my mouth like most people did, just because, if you want an example of karma, look no further than this fight. I
Well, I
mean,
wasn't really surprised, right? Because most people who have done a lot of steroids, and we know, like it's documented. I put out a little short on this on my on the YouTube channel, and my own personal YouTube channel there, and said like people who've done steroids and things like that weakens the ligaments, right? Like when you're on steroids and go off, like your body, it messes up your body and the ligaments and things like that in your body. And somebody's like, how do you know he's on steroids? Because it's documented. He told us. The whole world knows he was on steroids, folks. Like let's not be like that's what happened. And then so I do think like that had a part of it. Do you think like there's a lot of theories. Did he enter the fight injured? I don't really know. Like you didn't see him limping around there. Everybody's talking about when he took off his shoe. I don't know. I mean, I'm not reading too much into that, but I do know you could see it right when the knee go when he tried to throw the kick.
yeah, I mean, it. I found Kavanaugh's comments very telling about how they were pretty like contradictory. He said he had the greatest training camp of his life. He was living in the gym, but they went out of his way to make sure like he didn't get any nicks and bruises or anything like that. And I don't think those two things can actually be accurate. And um he very well could have had something nagging, but it very well could have just been the inactivity of now you're finally not in a simulation and the body just kind of went there. I mean, you alluded to the steroids, which is, pretty documented. Something I've said I didn't even like really have a problem with the scenario he had. He should have taken himself out of the pool to get his leg right.
Right.
But you know what also does not help the body and the bones and is also extremely documented in the Nikita Hand case is cocaine. I mean, how much cocaine and alcohol has he been doing for the last 5 years?
Right.
And, I think it really just was a combination of inactivity and father time of him not really taking care of himself. Because, I'm not like trying to bash the guy for like his age. He's, a year younger than me, but he looked like shit walking out there. Like I've never seen him look that bad. Like his face was extremely puffy and
Right.
inflated. Like if you compared it to his last fight, he kind of more or less like he just looked a lot worn. And he
Yeah,
hadn't had any fights.
he looked every bit of 40, you know?
Yeah. And I was waiting for the tweet to say that, oh, I'll get back in there, because in his mind the job is half done. He's got one more and he'll get out of his UFC contract. And if I'm to spin this for any positive for Connor, um I think the UFC will just let him walk now. Like,
Yeah, there's rumors. I mean, two insiders are saying Mayweather Connor 2 at Zuffa in 27.
yeah, we need to throw those paid comments in the trash. I got a lot of respect for Oscar Willis, but like when Oscar Willis and Brett Okamoto tweet the same thing word for word, they're obviously being instructed to do that.
Yeah.
And yes, like if you want to still make some type of monetizing thing to try to sell him to the public a little bit better, that probably would be the way to do it. I
And
don't
there's rumors.
expect.
Rumors that, I mean, we know Floyd's broke, right? Like, that's not really even a rumor. It's documented that he's officially like filed for bankruptcy, is broke, like not even just like fake bankruptcy, like is legit broke. And there's rumors that Connor's lifestyle in that he needs the money, and maybe that's why he fought even if he was injured, and why he is trying to fight out these two quick ones to get to the Netflix payday with whether Jake Paul or somebody like that.
Well, so if he was injured, the reason he did go through with it, like this is the craziest part. If he never pulled out of the Michael Chandler fight, he would be a free agent right now because
Right.
this would have been that second fight.
Yeah.
So I do get the argument for like, even if he was compromised, the whole show must go on thing just to get it done. But you know, we have seen TKO, Mark Shapiro specifically, his whole job is to extract the most he can get out of these guys. And the second that he cannot extract anything else, that's it. They drop him. And I do think at this point, why would the UFC re-sign him to a deal? Like the only reason I think they would be to ensure that he would never get the Netflix payday. And who knows what that payday is now? Like I know they would absolutely still do it. Exhibit A, Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano.
Right.
They have no issue with anything being like quality. But
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Exhibit A.
yeah.
Exhibit B. Yeah.
And oh, well, I just also would like to point out that Mike Tyson had a better return than Conor McGregor did.
I didn't think
You
about
know,
that, Bobby. I didn't think the same thing.
like that's not even like me throwing shade. That is just pointing out that Mike Tyson was able to, yes, Jake Paul carried him, but he was able to get through a match, and Conor did not make it over a minute.
Yeah.
And it like I said, it sucks for Max, it sucks for the fans. Extremely tone deaf by Max saying to run back the trilogy when people are booing leaving the arena. Like you might want to wait a little for that. But
Right.
it's a good thing the rest of the night was electric.
Yeah. The rest of the card was great, and I thought let's talk. For Max, I don't really hey, you got a big payday. You know what I mean? And let's talk about the rest of the card. You mentioned it earlier, Bobby. I thought the star of the week, star of the night was Paddy Pimblett. I mean, the walkout, the finish. I mean, he crossed off all the boxes. This was, I don't know if we've seen a bigger, like, in amount of time where people maybe soured on Paddy after the Gaethje fight where he just took an absolute beating. Then, so in the last like 2 months, Paddy's star has risen, right? Because even though he's lost, you're like, well, shit, like he lost to the champ the eventual champ, right? Justin Gaethje is the champ, and he did better than Ilya, right? Like, I mean, Paddy went all 5 rounds and took the beating and still survived, right? He survived. Now he lost, but he still survived. Looked better in the loss than Ilya, right? You could say. And then you get to Saturday night, and I mean, just absolutely crushed it. I mean, the walkout, and then BSD. What was BSD doing? Like shooting on Paddy. We all said, we said, hey, the best bet, the best lay was Paddy by submission, and I thought Paddy, the UFC found it's. They were waiting for this breakout moment for Paddy, and it finally happened Saturday night. I thought he was the biggest star Saturday.
Oh, easily, without question. And this is exactly why the UFC put him on as the co-main event. Like, it could not have gone better for them for that aspect. Like, this was almost even, like, if you consider the Conor injury, like it really like it makes it even, because the only like fight to talk about and stuff, like, that's essentially the main event when it comes to competition, and the crazier part is Paddy got him out of there quicker than the main event, like, flubbed. And I thought we were behind this with BSD because he got like a coach, but he clearly is not. Like, he does not show his opponents any respect. And for him to just instantly go for a takedown and get caught up in a choke that eventually just became a slick Darce choke, you knew right there it was going to be done, and Paddy was going to, when everyone was like all worried about him gassing his arms out and stuff, and it's like Saint Denis had nowhere to go there. And I mean, quite ironic that he like pulled off some old school Mystic Mac shit on a Conor card where, we're getting this young up and coming guy coming off a big loss, and you could not have had a better performance than that. Took 0 damage. I don't even think Saint Denis threw a strike. And yeah, I mean, about the Max maybe got the easiest payday on Saturday, but Paddy got the second easiest payday, and absolutely, earned everything there. I love how they did the extra kind of walkouts for the co-main and the main. I really thought it was flawless how they had Paddy come out first, and they let the crowd get kind of riled up with him doing his cheer and stuff before his music even came out. Like, I'm gonna have to go back years to find the last time that they did that. It was probably like Conor, when they had like the live walkout with
Sinead O'Connor when she sang the song.
And
Chad Mendes,
it was just wild. Like, the entire time he was coming out, he was having more fun than anyone in that arena. I mean, seeing like Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn doing his dance and stuff, and then Paddy
the Paddy. The whole arena.
Yeah, and he completely captured that moment. And then, like, about the only highlights with BSD is they gave BSD a similar like kind of entrance with the production value and stuff. They didn't just like have him walk. So I know I'm not naive enough to think this is going to be the standard. I know this is just because it was on a Conor card, but I would implore them to do more of this, because you get kind of moments like this, and it is kind of how you create more memorable, stars. Even though we know they don't want to do that, that's probably why they don't. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Patty, like as quick as that fight went, I really got a lot out of it. Like between the entrance and how quickly he dispatched of them, and not only that, like handled the mic time too.
Always
Pretty
does,
much,
though. Always
pretty
does.
much saying that he would
Yeah.
fight anyone, and that's like the best part of this result is you could give him anyone, and I would have zero pushback in that top five. Like
Yeah.
he is going to be that new fight that people are asking for, and people are going to have to start taking numbers.
Yeah. And let's move to the third, another guy that's on the knocking on the door, and that's now Mario Batista. I mean, he is now looked really good in two back-to-back fights. This fight against Corey, he really hurt Corey's leg. I think Corey pulled his hamstring at the end of the first round, and then in the third, he just absolutely just Corey had nothing to offer as Batista just ragdolled him to a decision win, and is now kind of had the loss to Umar, but he is knocking on the door. Your thoughts there on the only fight, I guess, on the main card that went the distance?
I mean, Mario Batista is probably the most underrated fighter in that division. You could
Yeah,
probably make an argument he's the most underrated fighter in the UFC. I mean,
top
he
five
will
for sure. I mean,
yeah,
there's no denying that. Yeah,
he
agreed.
he will continue to get flack for the Aldo performance, and it's he pressured Corey kind of early in the fight. Corey was having some decent success, and then when he got I don't know if you want to call it a leg lock or more of a knee bar. Um, Corey did not tap, but it went into the next round, and you could kind of see the damage was done from there because he
Yeah.
was limping back to it. It infuriated me that Paramount decided at that moment to go to an ad. They're starting to see more like an ad agency than a fight promotion for the UFC, but got to make it back somehow. But probably the most impressive thing to me in that fight is when you knew Corey was compromised, he went back and had a really good round two. You could almost make an argument he won that round. He was even throwing kicks with that foot. So I found that very impressive. Like at no point did he quit in that fight. But Mario used the third round to just kind of, um, enforce his will and pressure and just, I don't want to use the term squeaked out a decision because it was a very tough fight and he absolutely did the right thing to win. But I don't know. It's one of those it's 1-1 now. I don't think like Corey loses too much stock in that loss because Mario is that good. The only kind of elephant in the room is it a hamstring tear or was it something with the knee, and what will the
So
prognosis?
he posted on Twitter or in his Instagram, one of the two, and said it's a hamstring.
Yeah, that entire bruise. That I saw that photo. That was brutal. So,
Nasty.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, hopefully he could get back in there, but I absolutely think that fight held up to my expectation for what I thought it was. Back and forth, two very high class guys, and unfortunately, one of them had to lose, but a very good win for Mario. I'm glad he was kind of able to right the ship. You could see that meant a lot to him. um, I know they're not going to give him the title shot next, but he is simply just making himself undeniable down the line. I know he has the Umar loss and stuff, but
But losing to Umar's not like there's probably three
exactly.
guys that I feel like there's no shame in losing to, and that's Umar, Jan, and Marab, right? Like there's no those three are the kind of the in Sean O'Malley's there as well, but and maybe that's the fight they do next. I don't know, but
Well, the interesting thing about that is they used to train with each other at MMA Lab before O'Malley went off with Tim Welsh like full time and stuff. And I do wonder it does seem like they're absolutely going to have to fight eventually. I think that's kind of why they stopped training, because like he was training with like him and Marcus McGee, and I think
Yeah.
they realized like, hey, we're eventually like going to have to fight each other. Um, if I were to have a choice, I'd take my money for that. I think it would be very interesting, but I don't think either of them would turn it down. But because their history, it makes you kind of wonder if it will happen or not. But damn good showing from Mario. I'm glad he took advantage of that international fight week spot. Very happy for him.
Yeah, me too. It's a little sad about Sandhagen, and we got two more fights real quick to kind of cover here, Bobby, and that's I thought maybe fight of the night in Loner Kavanaugh versus Brandon Royval. Like this fight, I thought was man, it was back and forth, right? Like 1-1. I had it 1-1 kind of going into the third, and then obviously we know Royval was able to take him down and choke Loner out. But I thought Loner in the second was going to get Royval out of there, and even though a similar situation to when Mario lost to Umar's, like there's no shame in losing to Brandon Royval. This guy is one of the top 2-3 elite flyweights and clearly still has it, right? Like I mean, like yeah, he's was coming off the 2-fight losing streak, but he's lost to the guy that is the champ in a close fight, and he did get knocked out by Manel Kepa, who's right on the cusp of fighting for the title. So like, and Loner's still got a career to yet to go, but Royval, the raw dog showed him that he's still a dog in this game.
I never complain about Rogan's commentary because it's always just like the thing to do now. But he was driving me nuts when he was trying to equate that this back and forth war was because they were fighting on a Conor McGregor fight card. And it's like, no, Joe, this is just the flyweight division.
Right.
This is why we love the flyweight division. This is why it's the best division in the UFC.
Right.
And I mean, this fight was literally everything we thought it would be. We both called this being fight of the night. Well deserved. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer that they were going to get it because, we did get a lot of finishes and stuff. So that, normally doesn't warrant a fight of the night if someone's getting finished left, unless it's in the third. But, Royval pressured him early, so Loney couldn't really use his counter game. And, but Kavanaugh did not really get discouraged. He had great success in the second round and bounced back and dropped him. I thought Royval was going to get out of there a few times. His chin, but let alone his recovery, is just so insane.
Yeah.
I was making suggestions last week that he might want to just move up to 135. Nah, he's exactly where he belongs. You
Right,
know,
and that shows you the power of Manel Cape, right? Like Cape actually knocked him out and kept him down. Like we saw, Josh Van couldn't really even do that, and we saw, Loner couldn't do that, even though they rocked him. And kudos to Royval for recovering. I think a lot of that is because he doesn't cut a lot of weight. He says that even out of camp, he only really walks around at 135. So.
hmm yeah, and you know, it was 1-1 going into the third. I don't know if you agree with that, or
Yeah, I did.
did
Yeah,
you?
that's what I had it as well.
And I found it like even more impressive that um Royval was like not going to leave anything to chance. Like he took the dominant position once he got him down, and he was working to finish every second of the way there until he eventually got that rear naked choke. And from where that fight was trending in the second round, for him to come back that way, just insane bounce back. And his longevity is just bar none. I mean, the only thing I would say is how good is Joshua Van and Alexander Pantoja. But at the same time, like Royval is that type of guy that, if he gets a rematch with those guys, who's to say what could happen? He's always kind of evolving and making
Both
sure
those
that,
fights that he lost were close-ish. I mean,
yeah, I mean, they put the stamps on him at the end, but he was absolutely competing the entire time.
yeah.
And it was making me nervous when he asked for the bonus 3 different times in the interview, but that's how undeniable that fight was. They couldn't even snub him. And I'm glad that that fight was basically everything I was hoping for and more. It's why we love this division and we put it ahead of a lot of the ones that get more prestige from the fans. Like flyweight is where it's at.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great fight. And the last fight we'll talk about real quick here before we get out of here, and that was to open up the main card. And Bobby, I feel like Terrence McKinney fights, you might as well just put them on repeat because they're all the same. And this one ended the same as well. I mean, he absolutely almost gets Bobby Green out of there. Bobby recovers. I mean, almost choked him out. Bobby gets up and is able to finish Terrence. Maybe you could say it could have went a little longer, right at the buzzer there, but nonetheless, we didn't get out of the second round. So if you had either fighter winning by in the first, you were kind of lucky there. But
It was like
nonetheless,
minus 300
right?
fight,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like it should have been minus 1,000.
But King Green finds a way to win again. This is his like fourth straight win.
I mean, McKinney was putting damage on him early, and the entire time I just kept thinking, this is still a 50-50 fight. This
Right.
could change.
I feel like Terrence always gasses out halfway through the round.
Yeah, and I will say about the stoppage, you could make cases in the time when Terrence was putting damage on Bobby, it could have been waved off. So it being waved off there was a little lackluster, but at the same time, he clearly gassed and then fell from the body shot. And he couldn't really do much but cover up because he was so gassed. So, like we said, it was going to be entertaining as long as it was going to last. But, and that almost seemed to be like Bobby's strategy of knowing I can take his best stuff and eventually he's going to slow down and I'm going to capitalize. And that's basically what happened. And yeah, I mean, like you said, we've seen this more than once. So, it was definitely worthy of being on the main card, though. Like, for as long as it lasted, it went good. And, like, the last thing I'll say is it did drive me nuts that we had to wait till 6:25 for them to fight.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
them going to the desk when the main card starts is so infuriating. It's the thing I noticed the most since we've been out of the pay-per-view era. And
Same.
I know it's because of the ads, but yeah, that what a way to, especially with like how great the prelims were flying, what a way to just slow down. And fortunately, the fighters did their job and picked it right back up. But
Yeah.
I had to say something because it's driving me nuts.
No, I agreed. I agree. Actually, so like I was at my mom's house and my family was over there. I went outside. I was watching the prelims. I was like, I'm gonna go outside and visit with my sister and stuff. They were all outside, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm about to miss. I'm pretty sure I probably missed the first fight. Go back inside. Nope, I didn't miss a damn thing, Bobby. And it was probably 20 minutes I was out there. So
yeah, it's brutal. It's also like, knowing that they got a product they want and we'll stick around for it. And,
right.
it's
especially on Saturday night. Yeah.
But
yeah.
The funny thing is, it's making me feel like I'm getting my $80 worth from a year ago now. It's like, wow, that's why I paid for these. They just feed them to us, and it is what it is. We're a little halfway through it. I'm sure they'll eventually figure it out long term, but I think the stuff we are complaining about is going nowhere because it's just how they're going to make their revenue.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it. I mean, it sucks, but I would have been more mad last week if I would have paid $80 and watched Conor McGregor blow out his fucking knee in 30 seconds. So.
Yeah. Well, we got used to it real quick. Yeah, it's almost like it's conditioned, and we forgot how it was before. Like that's the thing I find the most funny about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, folks, this has been another great episode of the Shadow Realm. I'm your boy Bodkin. So with me, as always, Mr. Bobby Blunts. We'll be back next Monday right here on Sideline Sports, exclusively on Sideline Sports. So, but yeah, If you want more coverage and more MMA, we talk more MMA. We'll talk a little matchmaking on Wednesday on Head Kicks and Haymakers. You can check that out on the Bodkin Show YouTube channel right here on the description below across the ticker there. So me and Bobby will talk about kind of what's next for the match for each of the fighters. And we'll talk a little prelims and preview that UFC OKC card a little bit as well on Wednesday night. So head on over there and check us out Wednesday night as well. So be a friend, tell a friend. Like, subscribe, share. We'll catch you next Monday night right here on the Shadow Realm, baby. See you next week.